Hey guys, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to create another type of curtain wall on the classrooms. It's going to be different to obviously that one. Just to show you variations. Again, you can pick and choose how you do the different ones, but and depending on your design, obviously you might have different types. But I'm going to do one for the classrooms that are horizontal, and so I'm going to make a window unit using essentially curtain wall tool to make them. Okay, so unlike before, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just draw them in the wall itself and start from there. So if I go to wall, right, wall, I'm going to go to empty, duplicate type, going to duplicate it, and I'm going to call this one classroom. So I know that these are the classroom windows that I'm going to be using. Click OK. Now, and this time I'm going to click on automatically embed because I'm going to draw them directly onto the wall rather than draw them outside of the wall. Again, it's up to you whether you do it outside the wall and move it in later, or whether you just want to directly do it inside the wall in the first instance. Click OK. And then I'm just going to start on this classroom, and I'm just going to click on the wall here, just whatever size I want. Okay, so that's added in the curtain wall into the wall itself. Okay, so if I go to my 3D, I turn around, you'll see there it's in the wall. But as you can see there, it's taking up the full size of the wall. I only want a horizontal window for my classrooms that go from desk level up to the ceiling or a reasonable ceiling. So if I click on the curtain wall, I'm going to change the base constraints and top constraints to make it suit what I want. So base constraint, I want to start at ground floor, but I want to offset it up by 1200 or whatever distance you want. So I'm just going to say 1200 as my starting point. So take it up to 1200. Make it be a little bit less than that, to be honest. It could be 950, just a bit above desk level. And then I'm going to do top constraint unconnected, and I'm going to make them say 1200 high. That's giving me a horizontal window. Okay, so that's the first point, is that you can adjust the top constraint and bottom constraints to make the window the size you want. That on its own, you can make that window on its own. I'm going to add some mullions and grid lines obviously to that one to add a bit more detail to it. So if I go back to my ground floor, same again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to view section. I'm just going to create a quick section in that so I can see that a bit more clearly. Cancel that, and I'll flip it around. Sorry, flip it around this way and make it view there. I go to my section now, and then just extend that so I can see that window. So there's my window that I've just created. So what I'm going to do now is we'll go back to ground floor. So we're going to add is some grid. So instead of drawing in every grid line, what we're going to do is use Revit's grid line tools to help us start, and then we're going to just adjust to add in a window after that. So we go to edit type. I'm going to click on, I want a horizontal grids. I don't want any vertical, and in this instance I want to create some horizontal ones. So if I go to grid layout, horizontal, I'm going to click on maximum spacing, and I want them each to be 500, and click OK. Again, you can play them. You can make them vertical, you can make it horizontal for your one. That's pretty up to you. You can play about with them and see what you prefer. Click OK. If I go back to my 3D, you should see now we've got our horizontal mullions. Okay, so if I go back to my section there, we've got our 3 horizontal mullions. What I want to do now is add a vertical one, because I'm going to add a window panel there on that side, so an openable window, which I'm going to show you how to do that in this one. I'll make it look like an openable window. So we've got our horizontal mullions in. We're going to add in our vertical grid line, so architecture curtain grid. And then again, just hover over the horizontal top rail or bottom rail, gives you a vertical line. Again, you can pick and choose how wide you want it. You can put it in and then adjust the size of it. So 600 is fine for me. And then the rest is going to be horizontal. I need to get obviously rid of these segments because this is going to be an openable window, and then the rest is just a panel made up of 3 horizontal glazing strips. So I click on the grid line there, add remove segments, and then just remove that segment there. Same here, add remove segments, remove that segment, and that's got rid of that. So that gives me one panel and the three horizontal panels there. If I go to my 3D view there, you can just see it. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I go to my architecture, and if I go to mullions, I'm going to add in my mullions. So again, I'm happy with those mullions. All grid lines, hover over the current wall you've just created, and that will add in the mullions. Again, just checking. Yep, the longer pieces on the inside, the caps are on the outside. I'm happy with that. Okay. At that point, you can stop there if you want. I'm going to add in an openable panel as well. So I want to make this openable. These are all fixed as they are, but to demonstrate that they can open, you can actually put in an openable panel. Now, again, manufacturers do supply these details and these components to be inserted, but we're just going to use the ones that Revit has just now. So if I go to insert, load family, I'm making my way to curtain wall panels again. There is one at the bottom here, so curtain wall window that I'm going to use. Click open. That's loaded it in. Same kind of process as the door. You go back into architecture and you just find that panel. So you hover over the glass unit and then find the panel. I should say at the bottom there, glass system panel. So on one, sorry. Use the tab button to cycle through them until you find it. There you go. And then if you click on there, on the properties panel, you should see now you've got your curtain wall window you can add in. So curtain wall aluminium thickness, and that's added that in there. So that's the openable panel that's added in. So I've got my openable panel, I've got my 3 horizontal lines. Again, you can adjust the size as you wish. That's just, I've just got my generic sizes there, but you can play with different sizes. You can add vertical ones in if you want. Now what we're going to do now is obviously take this one and kind of repeat it as we go along for the other classrooms. So you can either copy this whole thing over, but note that the sizes will stay the same. Another way you can do it, another way that you can do it is create new curtain walls and then match the properties. So I'll show you how to do that because it's worth knowing. So if you go to, again, architecture, wall, and then use a classroom one that we just created. So I'm going to create a classroom one here. And then here. And possibly a very long one here. Okay, so I've got my 3D. You'll see they come in as being floor to ceiling, top to bottom, like it did when we started it. It's still got the horizontal lines in it, so it's still maintain the rules that we set for it. So it's still got the horizontal lines in it. But what we want to do is match in all the properties that we set for this one. So the height constraints, the height and all that kind of stuff, we want to match them in. So to do that, you can go to match properties. I believe it might be on here somewhere. Okay, so under modify, the buttons there for match properties, or MA is a shortcut. So I usually use MA, but match properties. So what this does essentially matches the properties of one element to another, which makes it a lot quicker rather than having to change all the settings every time. So if you go here, for example, click on match properties, click on the one that you want to match to, and the one that you've just created. And that will copy the properties along, so you can go around and change it. So that's copied all my properties in terms of the height constraints and that kind of stuff over to these 3 windows. Okay, so again, that makes it a quicker process. The next thing we're going to do is, obviously we've finished that off. You might want to add your windows in manually as well. So we're going to add 2 windows in either side of this one. Again, you can use your elevation markers now, so you can use the actual elevation ones if you want. That might be okay now. So if I go in, I'm going to create some elevation here. I'm going to create a grid line. Again, hovering over this top one, 600 is fine for me. I'm going to create one on each side of this one. It's a longer panel for me. Again, and remove grid line segments. Sometimes they are locked, so in which case you can't thing. So just make sure that it is unlocked. For whatever reason, sometimes they lock up and don't let you cut them, but that should be fine now. And then if I go back in, create my mullions now, all grid lines, and then hover over that window unit, that should create all my mullions. I go to my 3D. Yeah, that's done it the right way. So I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to change now the system, the end panels for window units. So window unit there. And hover over the glass for that one. A window unit, and that gives me a horizontal window with horizontal unit with two open windows at either side for that classroom there. Okay, so that's how you create more custom windows with the curtain wall tool, and using the different tools to help you configure the windows as you want. So if you go and do the rest of your windows as you wish, you can either go floor to ceiling like that, or floor to the ceiling, or do individual floors. But keep a note of obviously these sections where they do kind of overlap. So with the floor units and the suspended ceilings, because they will show through unless you think about them. Then I'm just going to finish off my ones in that time. So have a go at that and put some windows into your building on the external fabric.